Hello, my name is Punya Mishra and I'm Associate Dean of Scholarship and Innovation at the Mary Lou Fulton Teachers College at Arizona State University. And I'm really excited to share with you a new initiative that we call the Learning Futures Leadership Studios. But before I get into that, it might be important to give a little bit of context and just go back maybe in time, just a few months to mid-February 2020 as the COVID-19 crisis was just hitting us. At that point in time, there were just a couple of countries which had their schools shut down. It didn't take long, however, for schools across the world to shut down. And in 2 months, there were 194 countries and 1.6 billion learners who were out of school. And suddenly, we are all part of an unprecedented global educational social experiment that continues even today. But if COVID-19 has done one thing, it has shown us that we live in a world that is volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. What people called a VUCA world. We also understand that the world is hyper-connected and interdependent in really complicated ways. And it's not just COVID-19. We also have to think about sort of the rapid pace of change, where the amount of information that we can hold in the palm of our hand has grown exponentially over the past 3,000 or 4,000 years. And in some ways, the greatest educational innovation in our lifetime is the internet, allowing students or kids or learners to access information at a scale never possible before. But we also know there is a dark side. We know that the internet brings about these things like Russian bots and Twitter hacks, that Facebook and Twitter can be weaponized. And I wonder whether we as educators or as just citizens in the world are ready for things like deepfakes. There was a recent story about an Indian politician using deepfake technology to try to get more votes. Or are we ready for the surveillance state, where questions which were once science fiction, like the one which is, should facial recognition technology be used in schools, are now real questions? We also have to think about the nature of changes in the world of work. But just as an example, the world's largest taxi company, which is Uber, owns no vehicles. The world's largest popular media provider, that is, Facebook, creates no content. The largest volume merchant, whether it's Alibaba or Amazon, owns no inventory, and the largest movie house owns no cinemas. I wonder what kind of questions it raises for the jobs for the future and how we prepare our students for that. And of course, we cannot forget the elephant in the room, which is global climate change, which is going to dramatically change the lives and trajectories of billions of people across the world. And we could go on and on with these challenges. But what cannot be denied is the important role that education plays both in creating our present and also creating this future. And one can argue that there are many reasons for the global challenges we face, and key among them has been a failure to imagine what education can be. So the question in front of us is, how do we prepare for a VUCA world? How do we prepare our students for a VUCA world? And the key role, it's clear, I think, is about leadership and innovation. But it's not leadership and innovation in a vacuum. It's leadership and innovation combined with a deep sense of values of this future that we want to create. And that's what we call principled innovation, which we define as the ability to imagine new concepts, catalyze ideas, and form new solutions guided by principles that create positive change. And it's not just about thinking about these principles, it is bringing these principles into designing the future. As we look to the future, we seek to design the future. And it is in this context that I'm proud and happy to introduce the Learning Futures Leadership Studios, a set of 4 sessions. And what these sessions do is provide teams of educators the structure and flexibility to develop a compass to think about the future, to give you and your team the intellectual space and tools to design what this future can be. And we work with some awesome design leaders who help guide us through this process. Just to give you a sense of what this is going to look like, our first session is led by Dr. Sean Leahy, who frames the need and provides us some tools for future thinking. However, as we face these challenges, we know that these things cannot be handled by individuals. They have to be handled by teams. And this is where Dr. Meenu Ai from University Design Initiatives comes in, as she provides us with a context for thinking about how we can build resilient teams, build psychological safety, and develop adaptive leadership. Once we have the right teams in place, it becomes incredibly important that we are open to questioning certain fundamental assumptions about what education can and should be. This is where Dr. Brent Madden from the Teachers College comes in, as he provides sort of an example and a case story of how their team have been working on questioning assumptions about the very nature of schooling and how that has worked out. And finally, I'm really proud to have Dr. Liz Lerman with us. She's a MacArthur Genius Award winner and an amazing creative practitioner. And she will help us think about creative leadership and creative tools for doing, thinking, and making. If there's one thing I want to make clear, these are not lectures and talks being developed by these really talented individuals, but rather they help set the stage, and the hard work is done by you. And they let you design, working with our team, and then we provide feedback on what your work here are doing. And so we hope that you can bring a team, you can bring a challenge, and help us design the future of learning. If you need more information, you can go to learningfutures.education.asu.edu. This is Punya Mishra. That's my contact information. Thank you.